Taurus, stop scrolling for a second and really listen. Take one deep breath and let yourself settle into this moment, because this message was never meant to reach everyone. It was never for random people passing through or for those simply looking for entertainment. Somehow, out of millions of voices and distractions, it found its way to you for a reason. There's something important building between May 16th and May 17th, 2026, and it won't arrive quietly. It feels more like the ground beneath your life finally shifting after standing still for far too long. The things that kept resisting your progress begin to loosen their grip, and the weight that blocked your path starts breaking apart, piece by piece. This isn't small energy moving through your life. During those 2 days, signs begin appearing in ways you can't ignore. People respond to you differently, conversations feel heavier with meaning, and your instincts become sharper than usual. Deep down, you can feel something turning beneath the surface, like frozen earth preparing to open after a long winter. It's not coincidence that you're hearing this now, because life didn't gently guide you here. It pulled you into this moment because you were meant to hear it. But there's another layer to this shift that matters. You may already feel resistance rising around you without fully understanding why. Certain delays feel stronger, distractions seem louder, and emotions become harder to shake. That pressure is important because when something meaningful is close, the tension usually grows before the breakthrough arrives. So Taurus, don't lose focus now. Don't second-guess yourself just because things feel intense. May 16 and 17 are more than dates on a calendar, because they mark the point where your path begins moving in a completely different direction. This is a reset in motion, a doorway opening slowly and then all at once. The things you've carried quietly for months, maybe even years, start shifting toward you instead of away from you. Opportunities that felt locked begin opening, obstacles begin clearing, and the people who underestimated you slowly lose their hold over your confidence. Life places something significant in front of you, and part of you already senses it approaching. You can feel it sitting in your chest and stomach like a pressure that refuses to leave. That feeling was never meant to scare you. It was preparation. It was your inner world recognizing movement before your eyes could fully see it. And now these changes begin arriving, one after another, steady, strong, impossible to ignore. Taurus, you are the one meant to step forward and receive them. If you felt even the slightest shift while hearing this message, type, "What is meant for me is finally finding me." Your comment becomes your confirmation, and that confirmation locks your energy into the blessing now moving toward you. Taurus, let's step into the first piece of good news, because this shift carries a different kind of weight. For a long time, maybe longer than you admit out loud, it has felt like you were pressing against something that refused to move, no matter how much effort, patience, or faith you poured into it. Every time you got close to progress, another delay appeared. A door stayed shut, a response never arrived, an opportunity slipped through your hands right when it seemed within reach. But listen carefully, because May 16 and 17, 2026 begin breaking that pattern apart. The path that stayed locked for so long starts opening in a way you can actually feel beneath your feet, like frozen ground finally softening after a hard season. This is not a minor adjustment or a quiet little improvement. It feels immediate, solid, and impossible to ignore, as if something that resisted you for years suddenly decides to move all at once. You notice it through real things. A job finally reaches back out. A message arrives after silence. An approval comes through. Someone who kept you waiting finally responds, or an opportunity appears without warning and asks you to step forward now instead of later. The energy around you is no longer stuck in place. What felt delayed begins gaining motion, and what once seemed impossible starts unfolding with surprising ease. What makes this moment so powerful is the speed of it. The shift does not crawl toward you gently. It arrives like heavy gates, finally unlocking after standing closed for too long. And even you may feel startled by how quickly things begin changing. It is almost as if life is returning the time you lost, making up for every season where you carried burdens that were never fully yours to hold. And Taurus, you earned this movement. You stayed standing through setbacks that would have drained other people completely. You kept trying, even when nothing seemed to respond, and now the waiting itself becomes the force pushing you forward. What once slowed you down becomes the very thing that accelerates your rise. But there is another part to this shift that you need to notice. Someone close to you feels the change too, and their reaction may not come from a good place. The moment your road begins opening, their energy changes because your progress reflects the places where they still feel stuck within themselves. You may notice shorter replies, awkward distance, forced compliments, strange silence, or subtle remarks designed to shake your confidence. That reaction is not proof you should stop. It is proof that your growth has become visible. They can feel your life beginning to move in a different direction, but their discomfort cannot block what is already unfolding for you. Your path is clearing now, and the momentum behind it has already started moving. Taurus, what have you been quietly hoping for this week? Write it in the comments below. Speaking it out loud strengthens the energy around it, and your words become part of the shift already unfolding. And this is only the first piece of good news. There are still 4 more waiting ahead. Taurus, let's move into the second piece of good news, because this part touches the area of your life that has been carrying the most weight lately. Your financial path is finally beginning to move forward in a real and visible way. This is not a tiny improvement or a slow trickle of change. It feels more like the ground beneath your life shifting after a long season of standing still, as though the story you've been living around money is finally being rewritten. For months, maybe longer, you've been doing everything you could to hold things together. You tried to stay practical, responsible, patient and steady, even while pressure quietly built in places no one else could fully see. Deep down, you kept hoping there would come a moment when things finally opened, instead of constantly tightening around you. May 16 and 17, 2026 carry the feeling of that opening. These are the days when your financial timeline begins gaining momentum instead of resistance. Opportunities stop slipping through your hands and begin finding their way toward you. You're likely to notice several clear signs that the shift has already started moving into place. The first sign may come through money arriving unexpectedly. It could be a deposit, repayment, approval, or financial relief that appears without warning, and the moment it happens, something inside you recognizes that the energy has changed. The second sign comes through opportunity itself. A message arrives, someone reaches out, a job opens, a collaboration appears, or a conversation suddenly carries real potential for growth. The third sign feels even more intentional. Someone begins speaking to you about work, business, finances, or your future in a way that feels unusually aligned with what you've been needing. The timing feels purposeful rather than random, almost like life placing the right conversation directly in your path. Then comes the fourth sign, and this one matters most. You feel a strong inner pull telling you to take action. It may come quietly at first, but it carries weight, like instinct settling firmly into your chest and refusing to let you ignore it. That moment becomes the turning point where your financial direction starts changing for real. And Taurus, this is important to understand. Sometimes abundance arrives because effort finally meets alignment. You have already carried the hard work, the patience and the responsibility. Now the energy around your life begins matching the value you've been building beneath the surface for a long time. This is the beginning of acceleration, the kind that feels steady enough to last. But there is one choice connected to this shift that you cannot avoid. To fully step into this new timeline, you will need to say yes to something you normally hesitate to trust. One decision, one act of courage, one moment where you stop shrinking back from the opportunity in front of you can change the direction of everything that follows. Your fears may try to convince you to stay where things feel familiar. Doubt may speak louder right before the door opens. But Taurus, if you want this financial breakthrough, you cannot remain standing outside the gate once it begins unlocking for you. Life may open the path, but you still have to walk into it yourself. This is your moment. This is the shift you have been waiting to feel beneath your feet, and your story around money is finally beginning to rise. Taurus, type, "Money flows to me now," to anchor this new timeline into motion. Taurus, it's time for the third piece of good news, and this one reaches into your life in a way that feels deeply personal. Between May 16th and 17th, 2026, someone with real influence turns their attention toward you again. This is not a passing thought or a random memory drifting through their mind for a second before disappearing. Their focus feels intentional, steady, and impossible to ignore. This is someone whose presence carries weight, someone whose words or decisions have the power to shift the direction of your path. It could be a mentor who once believed strongly in your abilities, a boss who recognized your value before others did, a person you shared a meaningful emotional connection with, or someone whose influence naturally opens doors around them. It may even be someone who never fully left your energy, even during the distance. And when they think of you during these days, something inside you responds almost immediately. You feel it in subtle but undeniable ways. A sudden pull settles into your chest, your intuition sharpens, and you begin sensing that someone important has turned their attention back toward you. They notice you again. They remember what made you stand out before. They begin reconsidering your place in their life, their world, or their future plans. For some Taurus viewers, this does not remain a silent thought for long. It becomes action. A message appears, a call comes through, someone checks in, looks at your profile, asks about you, or reconnects after a long period of distance. The moment that connection starts moving again, your confidence rises with it. Your direction feels clearer, and the momentum around your life begins building faster. What makes this connection important is not only the emotion attached to it. This person carries access to something meaningful for your future. It may be an opportunity, an introduction, a doorway, or a level of growth you have quietly wanted to reach for a long time. And the signs surrounding it feel simple, but strangely aligned. A text arrives unexpectedly. Someone speaks highly of you in a place you are not present. An offer appears. A message says, "You crossed my mind today." And somehow the timing feels too precise to dismiss. But here is the deeper truth behind this moment. This person is not returning because you chased after their attention. You did not force yourself back into their awareness or beg to be seen again. They feel drawn toward you because something within you became stronger, steadier, and more grounded without you even realizing it fully yourself. Your healing changed your presence. Your growth shifted the way people respond to your energy. The quiet strength you built during difficult seasons began making you visible again in a completely different way. That is why this moment feels so powerful. It is not coincidence, nostalgia, or luck arriving out of nowhere. It feels like life responding to the version of you that finally understands its own value. And here is the part that matters most. This reconnection happens because you changed first. You stopped trying to force attention and started carrying yourself with the kind of stability that naturally draws the right people closer. When you reach that level, people who truly matter begin noticing almost immediately. Taurus, who do you think this person might be? Comment the first letter of their name below, because acknowledging the connection strengthens the energy already beginning to move between you. Taurus, the fourth piece of good news touches something most people move through life without fully understanding. Yet once you begin recognizing it, the way you see the world starts changing in quiet, but undeniable ways. Between May 16th and 17th, 2026, your intuition grows stronger with a steadiness that feels impossible to ignore. This is no longer a passing feeling or a random instinct that fades a few minutes later. Your inner awareness sharpens until even the smallest emotional shifts around you begin standing out with unusual clarity, almost like fog slowly lifting from a landscape you have been trying to navigate for years. Dreams begin feeling more vivid, more detailed, and strangely connected to real life in ways that stay with you long after waking up. Certain images repeat themselves, certain emotions linger in your chest throughout the day. Your gut reactions become harder to dismiss because they arrive carrying a grounded sense of knowing instead of confusion. You may begin sensing events before they unfold, or noticing changes in people long before anything is openly spoken. What once felt uncertain now feels clearer, calmer, and deeply rooted, as though your awareness has finally started waking up after being buried beneath stress, distractions, and emotional noise for far too long. Suddenly, the things other people overlook become impossible for you to miss. You notice tension in a room before anyone says a word. You recognize hidden motives hiding beneath polished conversations. The truth behind someone's behavior begins revealing itself even when they try carefully to conceal it. Small pauses, shifts in tone, strange timing, and subtle reactions start carrying meaning you instinctively understand. It feels as though your inner compass has become steadier, stronger, and more reliable than it has been in a very long time. You may catch yourself realizing someone is being dishonest without needing visible proof first. You may feel the weight of someone thinking about you, even from a distance you cannot physically explain. At the same time, opportunities that once blended into the background suddenly stand out clearly, almost as if they had been waiting for you to finally notice them. None of this feels random anymore. It feels like your perception is slowly aligning with truths that were always present beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to become visible. And here is what makes this shift so important, Taurus. The signs arriving around you do not only bring insight, some of them arrive carrying warnings, redirections, and quiet truths that deserve your attention before major decisions are made. Pay close attention to the dreams that have stayed in your mind recently, especially the ones returning with unusual emotional weight or vivid detail. Pay attention to the subtle nudges you felt earlier in the week, because those moments were not meaningless. They were gentle signals trying to pull your awareness towards something important before it fully unfolds. There is one dream, feeling, or repeating thought in particular that returns stronger during these days. It carries insight connected to a decision, an opportunity, or a truth you cannot afford to overlook. You may try to brush it aside at first, but it continues returning because something inside you already understands its importance. If you dismiss it too quickly, you risk missing a turning point that could shape your future in ways you do not yet fully realize. That is why trusting yourself becomes so important now, especially in moments where logic alone cannot explain what your instincts already know. Taurus, follow the instincts that bring a sense of calm clarity deep into your body and slow down around anything that leaves you feeling heavy, unsettled, or emotionally drained. Your intuition is no longer something faint, sitting quietly in the background, waiting to be noticed. It becomes a steady compass, guiding you toward what deserves your time, your energy, and your trust, while quietly pulling you away from what no longer belongs in your life. The energy around you begins shifting in visible ways. People behave differently in your presence. Situations begin revealing layers you could not fully understand before. Patterns that once confused you suddenly connect with surprising clarity, and conversations that seemed small at first begin carrying deeper meaning later on. This is the moment to start trusting the feelings you used to question, because they are guiding you towards something real, something grounded, and something deeply connected to the direction your life is beginning to take. Taurus, type in the comments the dream or message you remember most clearly from last night. Even if it felt strange, emotional, or unimportant at first, writing it down strengthens your awareness and shows that you are paying attention to what life has been trying to reveal to you through these quiet but powerful signs. And here is the deeper part of this shift. The dream returning to you tonight is not something meaningless drifting through your mind while you sleep. It feels more like a doorway opening quietly beneath the surface, pointing toward a choice, an opportunity, or a realization that deserves your full attention. Pay attention to it carefully. Write down what stays with you, and do not ignore the feeling that follows it. Between May 16th and 17th, 2026, your awareness sharpens in a way that changes how you move through your life from this point forward. Your intuition becomes something stronger than uncertainty or passing instinct. It turns into a steady form of protection, guidance, and inner clarity that helps you recognize what belongs in your life and what no longer does. Once that awareness settles in, ordinary situations begin revealing deeper meaning, and the world around you starts feeling different in ways you cannot easily unsee. Taurus, the fifth piece of good news, reaches even deeper than the ones before it. This part touches the areas inside you that carried disappointment, exhaustion, heartbreak, and silent frustration for far too long. Something that weighed heavily on your spirit begins shifting out of your life, and the balance that once felt missing starts returning in your favor. What hurt you unfairly no longer holds the same power over your future. This is the moment where old pain begins correcting itself. A betrayal loses its grip, a heartbreak starts softening, a loss that once felt permanent no longer feels final. And the timing around May 16 and 17 moves quickly, clearly, and with a force that is difficult to deny. This change does not arrive in tiny fragments. It arrives in a way that finally makes you feel movement after carrying emotional weight for too long. For some Taurus viewers, someone who hurt you deeply may come forward with words you never expected to hear, not simply because guilt suddenly appeared, but because your energy has changed in a way they can feel now. The strength you built through difficult seasons becomes visible, and people respond differently when they sense you no longer carry yourself from a place of weakness. For others, the return becomes even more tangible. Something that once slipped away from you begins finding its way back in a stronger form. It could involve money, recognition, opportunity, connection, or something meaningful you believed was gone for good. And when it returns, it feels larger, steadier, and more aligned with the person you have become. This is not random luck arriving out of nowhere. It feels like life finally restoring balance after a long period of endurance. You stayed patient when things felt unfair. You continued forward when progress seemed distant. You carried yourself through seasons that could have broken your confidence completely. And now the reward begins arriving with real momentum behind it. And Taurus, this is important to understand. When something returns after a period of loss, it rarely comes back unchanged. It carries lessons with it. It carries maturity, perspective, and a stronger connection to what truly matters. What once left your life returns in a way that fits your future more honestly than it fit your past. Some of these changes may surprise you. Some may arrive so suddenly that they almost feel unreal at first. But this is how transformation often works. Life does not only repair what was damaged, it also prepares you for the next version of yourself at the same time. This is your moment to receive what belongs to you without hesitation. Do not talk yourself out of it when the doors begin opening. Do not doubt your worth once life finally begins responding differently to your presence. The timing aligns now for a reason, and your path is already beginning to move. Taurus, if something was taken from you emotionally, financially, or spiritually, type, "I take it back" in the comments below. Every word becomes a declaration that you are ready to receive what should have been yours all along. And here is what makes this even more powerful. Life does not simply return what was lost. It brings it back with greater clarity, deeper value, and stronger alignment. What once caused grief begins turning into growth. What once felt missing starts becoming abundance. And it happens because you endured the difficult seasons without losing yourself completely in them. This is more than temporary good news. It feels like healing, finally reaching the parts of your life that waited the longest for relief. Between May 16th and 17, 2026, your past begins losing its hold over your future, and your energy starts aligning with the stability, fairness, and fulfillment you have been trying to reach for a very long time. And now comes the deeper truth behind all of this. May 16th and 17 are not random days passing through your life unnoticed. They mark the point where an old chapter begins closing and a new one starts taking shape beneath your feet. 5 shifts, 5 openings, 5 moments of confirmation arriving together do not happen by accident. They arrive because something inside you has finally become ready to move forward. You are not hearing this message by chance. You are here because your life has been preparing for a different direction, one built from everything you survived, learned, and carried through these past seasons. Taurus, you were meant to rise beyond the cycles that once kept you stuck. You were meant to turn pressure into strength, hesitation into stability, and pain into wisdom that changes the way you walk through the world. Walk into May 16 and 17 with the kind of confidence that comes from knowing you no longer need to shrink yourself to fit the limits of your past. Move like someone who understands that life is finally beginning to respond to the value you have carried within you all along. Your new chapter begins now. Taurus, comment these words 10 times. I am chosen. Each time you write it, you strengthen the intention behind this new path and anchor yourself more deeply into the version of you that is finally ready to rise.